Hey. Today I'm just coming to you to talk about therapy and therapy from the standpoint of African Americans. And this is going to just be more of like a conversational type of video because I don't have all the answers. I'm going to come from the standpoint of just my opinions as far as counseling is concerned or therapy for African American individuals and African American couples. So, the way that I feel about it, my friends joke, I'm always trying to send people to therapy. I think therapy is very, very, very important for individuals to do first. I feel like even if you're in a relationship, long-term relationship, or a marriage, I think that each person should always be working on themselves individually. And I feel like having a therapist that you can speak to and talk to on a regular basis is important. And here's why. Because a therapist is going to allow for you to be able to be like not judged. You're able to just talk about any and everything. You're able to get things out, but they're also able to pull certain things out of you that you need to probably discuss, things that maybe you haven't tackled, things from your childhood. All those things affect who you are today and how you show up as a person in the world, as a husband, as a wife, as a mother, as a coworker, as a friend, as a daughter, as a son, all of that stuff, even as a grandparent. So with all of that being said, I think it's just very important for people to focus on themselves first. I know for me, I find that therapy has worked. I've been going to therapy now. Let's see, this is 2023. I've been going to therapy ever since and I have my pockets where I kind of stop, but I always start back up and find somebody. But I've been going to therapy and taking it seriously since about 2014, 2015. And it really helped me. Some things came out in therapy that I had no idea that I had balled up inside and that I was dealing with or actually not dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And so it really helped me go to another plateau in my life. Like I was able to come out of so much when I started going to therapy. My career soared, my ability to kind of attract different people as far as dating was concerned, or even at one point, my ability to just cut it all off. Therapy helped me to see, girl, you got some work to do. You need to just not be dating for a while. And in that act, it helped me to eventually attract and meet the type of people that I needed to meet as far as dating was concerned, to eventually end up in a long-term relationship and then eventually a marriage. Because that was what I was seeking and wanting. And I had an opportunity, a few years back, but that situation did not work out. And but ever since then, ever since me calling off that wedding, it just, the dating scene just was not working out for me. And then when I started to look at myself and actually get some therapy, that really helped me to see a lot of stuff. And it wouldn't, and not that I was like this huge problem or anything, but just from the standpoint of the decisions that maybe I was making, certain things that I was allowing, certain ways that I was handling things or just not handling things, like kind of just being tunnel vision and not paying attention to certain things that I should have been paying attention to. All of that stuff kind of came up and helped me to see the things that I needed to adjust and change in order to see some different things happen in my life. And so often I see people, or I come in contact with people who are not seeking therapy. And it's just so easy to see when you see some of the things that they're dealing with, some of the ways that they have, some of the habits that they have. it's so clear to me because I do get therapy. It's like, wow, you just need some help. But I think, or not just I think, we know from statistics, and I don't have any specifics here because again, it ain't that type of video, but we all know, I think at this point, statistics have shown that African American people kind of frown on getting help. Now, one thing that I love about Charlemagne the God, he has brought that to light and to the forefront and has made therapy and seeking therapy more, I guess you could say, cool. Whereas before in the African American community, it was not. But with him being such a huge figure in our community and being someone that, certain people look up to, he's very successful. And him being open and honest about him seeking therapy and how it's helped him, especially being an African American man, because as we know, a lot of African American men, for whatever reason, feel like therapy is not something that they need. They tend to shy away from it. Some of them flat out refuse to go. And then those that do go don't take it seriously. They might go because they're being dragged by their spouse to go because they're afraid that, okay, if I don't go, she gonna leave or whatever else, and not really focusing on, you know what, I need to do this for me. And as a matter of fact, not only do I need to go with my significant other, I need to be going on my own to kind of help figure out, why am I making the decisions that I'm making? Why am I doing the things that I do? How can I get out of those habits? How can I change? How can I be a better person? Therapy helps you figure those things out. And some people say, well, you can figure that out on your own. Yeah, that's easy to say, but a lot of people are saying that, but they're still in the same spot. So it's like, can you really? Because clearly you're not doing that. If you could figure it out on your own, you would stop making the same decisions that you're making. If you could figure it out on your own, you wouldn't be in the same place that you're in mentally and even physically. You would have transcended to another level by this point if you could do it yourself. So I just came here to hopefully strike up a conversation in the comments to find out, why is therapy still so taboo? Even though it's more accepted now in our community, I still feel like we have a lot of work to do, and we still deal with so much in the Black community. And when you see things happening and you see that the things that are happening, they're happening with people who are not seeking therapy on a regular basis. And the question is why? Like, I know some people who will flat out admit that they deal with depression and other things, but they don't have a therapist. And it's just like, that makes no sense to me. That's just like, when you have a cold, you go get medicine for it. When you have a more serious situation going on, you go make a doctor's appointment. We go to the dentist, we go to our general practitioners. Sometimes we might even have to go to a specialist if there's some things that we're experiencing. So why is therapy not looked at in the same way and not looked at as something that's just as important when we're talking about optimal health? Because to be honest with you, our physical health is very important, but so is our mental. Our mental is just as important, if not more important, because I tend to believe that a lot of times our mental health directly affects our physical health, like how we think and the things that we believe and what we speak into ourselves and what we hold on to, stress and all that stuff, that makes you physically sick. So you have to figure out how to make sure your mental is right in order to still have a healthy body, because a lot of times we're holding on to all types of things that's causing us to be physically sick. So I would just love to hear some insights on why Black people just refuse to go to therapy. And these are Black, even people who have good insurance. Now, I can understand if you don't have insurance and therapy would be something that you would have to pay for out of pocket. That, I get it, because it can be expensive, okay? It really can. Because I've seen it, I've looked into it. But for those people who have insurance and your insurance covers it, it's like, just go. You're just sitting there talking, but you don't realize how talking to somebody that is unbiased, but also has the wherewithal and the the educational background to actually assist you is so important. It's so important, and it's so good. It helps so much. So I just really hope that we can kind of see a day where therapy is a little more common amongst the African American community. I think it's very important in marriages. I think that if more husbands and wives in the African American community sought therapy on a regular basis, I think that it would improve their relationships, and I think that it would improve the divorce rates. I really do. And I also think that what will happen is it will improve individual therapy, because I have seen a lot of couples get couples therapy, and then they realize within that therapy, hey, I think I need some one-on-one therapy. And they tend to get it because now they've never done therapy before. Now they're in it. It's not as bad as they thought. They're seeing the benefits of it, and they're realizing how they could also benefit on a one-on-one basis on their own and bring that back over into their relationship. And so I think that that's something that I would really like to see in the future. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have come a long way as far as therapy is concerned. I do see more and more African Americans committing themselves to being serious about therapy, one-on-one and with couples. But there are a lot of people who are just still shunning it for whatever reasons. And I understand the fear. I understand the fear of the unknown if it's something that you haven't tried, something that you haven't done. And then also, too, for so long, the stigma has just been, oh, we don't need that. We can figure that out on our own. And I think it's also been frowned upon. But I want to also say, hey, I mean, I'm an open book. I don't mind letting people know that I do therapy. I love it. But if that's not something that you feel comfortable sharing, you do know therapy is 100% confidential. So that's another thing. Your therapist has sworn they can't, first of all, they don't know you, because a counselor or a therapist can't provide services for you if they know you personally. That's number one. So you can't have your girlfriend or somebody giving you therapy. They're not allowed to do that. And I think it's kind of obvious why. And so you're talking to somebody that doesn't know you, they don't know your background, and they're sworn to secrecy. So you don't have to worry about your business being told, so it's kind of like that you get the best of both worlds. You got almost like a friend that is not going to repeat your business, but that can also assist you in being a better person and just in realizing the things that you need to see within yourself. And I love the fact that what they do, they just let you talk, because I think a lot of people struggle with not feeling heard. And that's one good thing that you will find in therapy. You will feel heard. If nothing else, because they will just sit there and they'll be sitting there until you come on. This is a give and take. The therapist is not going to just let you sit there. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to talk. They're going to ask you questions. But again, it's confidential. So it's not, even though I get the fear, but once you get in there and you see, it's really nothing to be afraid of. And what it actually is something to be proud of. And it's something to be appreciative of, especially if your insurance covers it. That is a blessing within itself. Utilize it. Just like I hope you're utilizing your dental coverage, your medical coverage. Again, utilize your coverage to make sure your mental health is intact. I think it's important. I think that it's necessary, especially in the days that we live in and the days to come, because as we see, the world is getting more and more intense. More and more is going on, especially if you are in this world and you're responsible for somebody to be raising them. And even if you're not, just to move in this world even on your own, if you're single or if you're trying to move in this world as a couple, and the two of y'all done came together, coming from different lifestyles, different situations, not the same parents. Even if y'all have a lot in common, y'all weren't raised by the same parents. That's difficult. Bringing two people together with a completely different set of parents, completely different set of siblings, if you had any siblings at all. Sometimes your lifestyles are completely different. Your upbringings can be completely different. And even if they're similar, again, you still didn't have the same family. So you're bringing those two lives together, trying to mesh them, and that could be difficult sometimes when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to especially big decisions for the household. If you add kids in it, raising your children, making decisions about important decisions about the kids, their education, who you all are choosing to follow as far as, spirituality is concerned or religion. All those types of things can spark politics, health, how we eat, what we do, working out, like things like that. When you have two people together, you can have a lot of differences of opinions. And I think that counseling and therapy helps you navigate through those things better than you doing it on your own, because everybody's communication skills are different. There are some of us who need a little work in that area, whether it be speaking up more, or whether it be quieting down and listening more, being more of an active listener. And I just think that, again, it can be tough meshing two people and meshing two lives together. And I think that therapy is the way to kind of bring those people together and keep them together. If you got married and you want to stay married, I think that being actively in a state of seeking therapy, like at least like once a month or and if your insurance covers it, I say every 2 weeks, just having those sessions so that you guys are on top of like what's going on. You have some couples who feel like they can't even really openly talk to each other, or they have fear of, okay, yeah, we can talk, but it's going to turn into an argument. Well, at least therapy can kind of help you have those tough conversations in the right way, so you guys can actually get to a place of either agreement or agreeing to disagree, or coming to a place to kind of do a little give and take. Okay, well, we'll do this for you, but then we'll do this for you. And then also too, therapy is going to help the both of you all look at yourselves individually and not be pointing the finger, because I think that's what happens a lot of times in relationships. We love to talk about what the other person is doing or not doing. It's this, you. When in actuality, you need to be really focusing on, hey, what am I bringing to the table?
Guys,
what can
it was
I
at this
change?
moment that
What
my
can I
daughter
do
tried to come
differently?
into the room, so I had to readjust.
Hold on. So in conclusion, my personal opinion is that therapy is needed for everybody. And I feel like it's needed individually. And if you're in a relationship, namely a marriage, I definitely feel like therapy is something that married couples should utilize on a regular basis, because as your life progresses together, things will change. You guys will change individually. And if you want to continue to grow together, I just think that it's important to keep the lines of communication open. And I think for some couples, that therapists can help with more positive communication and healthy communication, because I think sometimes a lot of couples, they kind of don't know how to have healthy conversation on a regular basis. So drop down in the comments, let me know what you think, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.